It is currently 8 p.m. I'm recording this way too late. I should still be able to get it out by noon tomorrow, but let's just jump on in. This might be depressing, but being good at game development is not nearly enough to gain success. Literally, game development is just the start of what it takes to be successful. As we talked about in the last episode, without certain skills, you're gonna end up being invisible, and that's not okay. I'm RayBenefield, success is one of my special interests, and today we're gonna give you a little bit of taste of the huge amount of content that we're going to cover on this channel based on my 13 years of game development skills. Are you aware that I'm posting a new tip video every single day? Normally I take the time to show off one of my games that gives me full-time income to continue this moving forward, but it's late. I'm gonna keep going. In this video, we're talking about the absolute importance of the meta. You may have heard meta before from, say, a competitive scene, but it's basically everything that's around game development. Not actual game development, but everything around it. Give me a minute to explain the concept of meta real quick, and then we'll talk about the months of daily content that I have planned for the future. And of course, in addition to this content, eventually I'll be covering actual game development tutorials like Unreal, Unity, and we'll get on that, talk about that in a second. The importance of the meta is that you could be absolutely perfect in your game development, but none of that would actually matter because you're not using the meta to your advantage. Without understanding meta skills, you're still likely to fail. So this series is going to dive deep into these skills because most channels don't cover any of these. Honestly, game development is hard enough, and if you agree, drop a like on the video. Let's try to go through this list as quick as possible. We're gonna start with networking and social skills. This is probably the worst for most game developers, so I know it'll be helpful. Next is content creation. You want to stop being invisible. There's YouTube and streaming and social media. We'll also cover publishing and showcasing and sharing your work with everybody. We'll eventually cover graphics and branding and professionalism and things like that. We'll also cover community design, like running a good Discord server or setting up a healthy fan base or the concept of a help hub hero funnel. Then there's quality assurance, handling feedback, taking criticism, playtesting, all that sorts. And of course, we'll touch on mental health and sanity, like anxiety, depression, momentum, creative blocks, burnout. Why not cover business opportunities and growth strategies? Because you need to grow. And my personal favorite, time management, productivity, workflow, things to create more time for you so you can do more with less. If any of that sounds interesting to you, you want to subscribe, turn on notifications, and keep up with the series because I post a new entry every single day. Here's the rub. Meta involves so many little details, and they're details that we would rather not do most of the time. But if you're not considering the meta, you'll remain invisible, and we definitely don't want that. Part of the reason I put so much focus on quantity versus quality is because if you focus on quality, you're mainly focusing on game development skills instead of quantity where you're focusing on meta skills like publishing and playtesting. Normally, meta skills contain factors that are far out of your control. So the more that you gain practice with them, the better. There's not very many opportunities to practice. On top of that, pretty much every single meta skill is backed by a massive discipline which has its own depth to it, just like game development. Even branches of game development like game design, level design, environment art. All I'm trying to say is that we're at the very beginning of a massive journey. 20 tutorials at this point is not nearly enough. We're starting slow for a reason. I'm not advertising in certain ways for a reason, because I'm following my own principles and I plan on hitting partner probably within the next year. Eventually, with enough practice and experience and efficiency, I should be able to start doing double daily uploads to include, say, a tutorial that's practical, in addition to a theoretical concept to grow your meta skills. So next video, we're gonna start jumping into the difficult topic of networking and socializing, things like that. And we're gonna talk to you about the proper way to start networking. And the previous playlist is here. You can watch that. Last video, we talked about invisibility, where you want to be seen. You don't want to be hidden from the world. And now it's late. I want to go enjoy some Subway, and I'll do some edits at like 4 a.m. See you tomorrow.